Welcome all. All four stooges are in the house tonight. We got Jen, Lydia, and Naomi. Their host, Cam. Welcome.
Hello.
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 Plenty of stooges in these movies that we'll be tackling. So, tell us how anyone in any order, how you guys got into zombie films. Was it with the Romero crowd, or was it just in general, just seeing 40s creature features?
I cannot remember where you're at, Cam.
I'm in the thick of the problem of the zombie causing agent of COVID that is in Dallas, Texas.
Okay, cool. Okay.
No,
So
not cool. Very shitty.
This was dismissive, but I'm leading it back to me. Okay, so we're in the Pacific Northwest, and we have public access. And since they did not put a copyright on Night of the Living Dead, they aired it every single night on public access.
It was just on PBS this last Halloween. Yeah, you cannot escape
I watched it every night. So long, like my insomniac ass watched it so many times.
I'm gonna have to click on that.
I watched it so many times that it became my absolute favorite movie of all time.
Okay, sweet.
Mm-hmm. This is my number one go-to. Romero is always going to be Night of the Living Dead. Ben for life. You know what I'm saying?
Sweet.
Yeah. That's how I got to Romero. Take me down any road you want to go down, but that's my go-to. That's the one I come back to.
To quote Gwen Stefani, that's my shit, that's my shit, that's my shit.
True story.
Someone had to try out the quotes of a random music lyric. But yeah, so you're just always watching it on the public access channels, and it just...
And then I bought it on Blu-ray, and then I had youth kids I tried to make watch it. I've got stories for days about this movie. Yeah, like
best daycare center ever.
They did not like it. We could talk, but I love it. And
Mommy, they got people with ketchup covered on their face. It's not cool.
The
Not
story
sure
goes,
that's how kids sound, but I'm just going to try it out anyway.
I had junior high, senior high kids, and I was like, I'm going to make you watch my favorite horror film. And they knew that I loved zombies. So
whether you like it or not.
Okay, so I had permission from the church. I brought them all over. I made them watch Night of the Living Dead.
What does that tell you about today's church?
It was a tiny church, but I had permission to have them all over from their parents and from the staff, that I could have them over to watch the movie, and we'd have a slumber party. And I made them watch this movie, and they were like, and I was like, this is my favorite movie, and you guys don't like it? And then in between, like a nacho bar and like me giving them way too much candy, I put on the throw.
No, you got to say like a zombie. Candy.
I give them candy, Cam. And then I had a throwaway Blu-ray at the dollar store, and I made them watch Ernest Scared Stupid.
Oh,
and
you
guess
are the
which
best
one?
tutor ever.
Thank you. Guess which one they were like, oh no, oh my God, oh no. Guess which one they did that to? Not Light of the... Ernest Scared Stupid. Fucking kids.
Trolls were scary, man.
They were super scary, and it was mostly the
I think they were just scared at Ernest in general, but...
Anyways, I'm just
so
saying
now I know.
that, like,
people are afraid of anything.
I've got my own balloon. I've got it bursted. Night of the Living Dead for life. But also I get why the youngins don't understand.
Youngins.
How about you, Lydia?
I guess I've always known about zombies through cultural osmosis, but I don't know if this would count, but it was probably the
Yes, it counts. Go ahead.
It was probably the Weekend at Bernie's movies that made me first realize about zombies.
Oh, nice. So
zombie.
I guess my first zombie movie was Star Trek First Contact, but I'll admit, I've just always been kind of a B-movie guy. I just was always seeing anything, whether it was a stupid kickboxing movie I shouldn't be watching, or a creature feature, or just robots fighting other people supposed to be cyborgs in human form. I just always I was used to that whole Twilight Zone, Star Trek, X-Files craze. So any B picture with heart of stone or brains, that just turned me on. I was just like, yeah, I'd give it its due. And it took me a while, ironically, to get into actual Romero. I couldn't get into the original movie right away. I was a bigger fan of the remake. Loaded take, but stand by it still. It's kind of like how I'd consider Evil Dead 2 kind of the director's cut of Evil Dead 1.
Oh, we could talk about Evil Dead.
Yep. And see, there's another again. See, those are basically zombie movies. And it's funny how they're making fun of freaking Jason and the Argonauts. And it's like, so yeah, basically everybody's seen anything, whether it's skeletons in human form or just possessed people walking in slow motion while they tear off limbs. It's in our culture.
I mean, look, okay, here's the thing. I'm a geek and Jen is a nerd and Lydia is
Lydia.
Lydia's Lydia. Can I just say that a deadite is not the same thing as a zombie? And I stand by that.
Demons and zombies are kind of go one in one. They're not the same, but there's some kind of undead form. So it's kind of like with mummies. Obviously, mummies and zombies aren't the same thing, but you can equate them just a part of the same pie. They're undead creatures.
That would be a very non-tasty pie, Cam.
Well, I didn't say it was in good taste, especially when we're talking zombie movies. But don't worry.
Pie.
Now that we pissed off anyone who's just like, oh, I can't believe you just dissed that. Anyone who's still with us. So yeah, we're just gonna casually just go through.
Okay, wait. Lid's told you, but Jen
I just
didn't
got my
tell
show
you.
Taken away from me 5th time this year.
Look, here's the thing. I'm gonna advocate for people that I love. Jen, you, Romero, go.
Oh, it wasn't directly Romero first. It was Return to the Living Dead Part 3.
Nice. I like the style.
My dad let us pretty much rent whatever when we were at his house growing up. So
boobies.
That was the first one.
Sorry.
It was boobs and zombies. So
and metal.
Yeah. So that led me into it, but I didn't really return to zombies in general until 28 Days Later. And then that just sparked.
That's nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So you
reanimated my interest, if you will.
But they're literally are everywhere. Like anyone who says I don't like zombies, you're gonna come across a zombie film, regardless of whether you want to see it or not. You're gonna encounter it. You're gonna see something that, whether it's on a TV show that features something, you're gonna see someone just encountering a bunch of people crawling out of graves. Whether it's dead alive or anything.
There's something about a reanimated corpse that just draws us all in.
Reanimator is a fucking zombie movie. It's just like, you're gonna encounter it. And everyone just seems to think is like they either don't really understand it or they just think they've seen the worst of it. I had a guy who was really into horror movies, and get this, he liked all these pretentious gangster movies, but hated Ocean's 11, so already wrong sauce. But then he would like talk about all these overrated slashers and lame horror movies, and he was like, I'm not really into zombies. They're just fucking stupid. I'm like, have you ever actually seen it? No. I'm like, okay, so there's your problem. But go watch whatever other pretentious award-winning movie that no one's gonna watch.
There's something to be said about watching a classic and then letting that lead you down the rabbit hole of other zombie films. Like
1,000%.
Here's the thing. I've told you, and I will say it again because I'm not above repeating myself. My favorite film is Night of the Living Dead. I have not watched every fucking Romero film out there, but I have watched countless zombie films across the board because the genre speaks so loudly to me.
Which is why she's basically inviting herself for when we do our 100 best zombie movies. Anyway, that's so true, because I'm noticing that too. I've noticed also with certain Romero fans, not all, some, keyword, some. And I've noticed that some of them are either familiar with all of his work, most of his work, or just his zombie films. And so some of those are kind of the same people who do the whole, oh my god, I love George Lucas. I'm like, have you seen anything else besides Star Wars? No, I love George Lucas. So this is like, it's the same kind of whiny nerddom where I see everyone just nerding out and they have no constructiveness. So it's just like, okay, if someone is the best filmmaker of all time, they have to make movies that just about everybody loves or have some giant cultural significance. So, and they built their signature on it. But Romero is just a great filmmaker in that he made use of any kind of budget and built his social commentary, and just wherever it took him in the editing room, that was just where he built it on, as opposed to doing the whole just like arguing with fans on stupid plot twists. You know, he's not a Ridley Scott where he's like, oh bloody hell, I didn't intend that. You know, he's not M. Night Shyamalan where he just has to have something that's just weird and you're just like, I don't know what I fucking watched right now. It was a waste of time.
Poor M. Night Shyamalan.
I say that as a fan.
We did Shape of Water.
No, Lady in the Water.
Fuck my ass. Yeah, no, Lady in the Water is my favorite Shyamalan, and we did that 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
I want to say 3.
Yeah, like the thing about Shyamalan is he was so pigeonholed that I'm super glad that Romero kind of didn't get. That being said, he didn't get, but I only know his zombie stuff.
No, that's fine. That's why I branched it out into multiple different ways, because it seems like I just encounter it just very commonly, but everyone likes to try and pretend to speak for everybody. And it's just like, this is not how it works. There's so many different kinds of fans. And so when I see all this toxic fandom and say like the Halloween and Star Wars community, it's just like, I'm just so overjoyed when I see people who pretty much, they just all get the whole zombies thing. It's just fun seeing them at conventions or even doing the zombie march where everyone's got, you know, disconnected limbs and gore coming out of their face, you know. Everyone just is ready to see an unusual, weird contraption.
I mean, when we God, I know that I'm casting back, but when we did Barbarella, the thing that stuck, yeah, I know.
Yes.
But also awesome. Barbarella's amazing. It's a good episode if you want to check it out. But the thing
everyone check out their show. It's awesome.
You really don't have to, but if you do, it's awesome.
Check out their fucking show. It's fucking amazing.
God bless you, Cam. Okay, so the thing that stuck out to me mostly, and I feel
other
like I yelled
brains. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, this is Barbarella. There's very few brains.
Oh.
She gets attacked by 300 budgies at one point. It doesn't make sense as a movie, but the whole thing
doesn't make sense. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah. So when you have a casual embrace, and what really allows the novice into a genre is humor, because you don't have to understand, because like everyone's a dumbass in a comedy.
And
so
in some zombie movies, some.
Yeah. But here's the thing: like, I could not get, say, my 15-year-old nephew into Night of the Living Dead. Not if I dragged him with pliers across the floor to the.
It's all right. I'm the weirdo in my family who's like, everyone wants to watch all this modern mainstream shit, and I'm like, I want to see this cult movie I remember from Sci-Fi Channel.
You should check out our fact checker, Sean. He likes to bring us to lots of weird things, but like,
this is why you guys are all awesome.
Yeah, thank you. But I could bring him in for Zombieland, because there were the.
Isn't that wild? It's like, just because it's more mainstream and stupid and funny, that's what you do if you can't agree to make them sit down and watch Romero or Evil Dead.
This is what I'm saying. Funny gives you a doorway. You don't have to like it. You don't have to adore it. You get to be like, ha ha ha, this is dumb.
They won't watch, say, the 21 Jump Street show, but they'll watch the unofficial movie / parody continuation. It's weird,
the same thing that happened with Night of the Living Dead. I was like, this is an amazing, beautiful, comprehensive film that I love so much. And they were like, awesome, but I'd like to see trolls eating babies with a guy who's like, you know what I mean, Burn? Yeah. And I get it, because one welcomes you and one is like, you need to know what's going on right now.
Right? Know your shit, man. So that's a good intro. Would you want to live in any of these worlds that are in these movies before we get into it?
Do I want to live in a world with Ben? Are you asking me?
Or just zombies in general? It just sounds like a fun time.
You didn't ask in general. You said
I will
of these worlds.
when I'm generally asking on the show, it's in general. Would you want to live in a world where you're just shooting zombies and just fearing for your life and running around like a madman and probably having to kill your racist neighbors and all the Karens of the world?
On the other side, you would probably have to kill people that you love because they got bit by a zombie.
That is the
that's
the Simon Pegg one. That's the Simon Pegg one.
Shaun of the Dead.
That is Shaun of the Dead issues. His stepdad.
His
Perfectly.
mom.
That's
his. Well, he doesn't kill his best friend.
All right, we're talking Romero, not Shaun. Damn Simon Pegg. Anyway, so I mean, come on, that's the whole basis. The Night of the Living Dead is like they happen to just be in, take shelter in a house with a dysfunctional family and racist who's also experimenting on his dead daughter.
Isn't that kind of what we've done over the last couple of years?
Totally.
What have we done over the last couple of years?
Been quarantining with people that we may not have wanted to.
Like or not. No.
Well,
we have different political ideologies.
Let's sit down and have dinner, and then you mention someone being racist to you, and now I've suddenly lost my appetite.
Oh, boy.
I'm so
sorry. No, it's like I mean, I'm just saying, like, I would not want to live in these kind of worlds. Like Zombieland seems fun because it seems like at the very beginning you do have that kind of like, they build these wacky contraptions, and it also appears fun. But with Romero's films, they seem very serious. And to be fair, I've only really seen Night of the Living Dead, so I'm not going to be very, very much helping this podcast. I'm sorry. It seems like just going over the list, none of the films seem to be very comedic. They all seem like dredged in horror. They seem very serious.
Although Dawn and Day got their moments.
Well, I saw the Dawn of the Dead remake with Zack Snyder, but I know that doesn't count. It counts?
Somewhat.
So like 50%.
You got the essence of it. Don't get me wrong.
I've seen one and a half.
People want to complain about the remake of the original Night, but you'll get most people to generally agree that both versions of Dawn of the Dead have their merits. But, there's always going to be someone who agrees or disagrees because they want to fuck with fandom. So fuck you guys for fucking with fandom. But anyway, it's, again, so they all have a loose world. That's what's cool about them, and then deciphering them. They're all perfect party movies, and you never know what you're in for. And then when you see it, you're like, damn, that's an atypical movie. Night of the Living Dead, again, you got all these various strangers, in a Pennsylvania farmhouse. Dawn of the Dead, again, you got basically various just out of control governments, basically fascist policemen, and just all these other imperfect people just trapped in a mall, and then biker gangs getting involved and being almost as terrifying as the zombies. So and then Day of the Dead, you got basically a Caribbean kind of area, and it's even goes into the Everglades, just a bunch of
did you ever watch I Eat Your Flesh?
I have heard of it. I have not seen it yet.
Okay, so here's the trap that some of us fall in. I love zombie films. I was like, well, what's the OG zombie film, right? And so I bought, I guess, I don't know, this is like pre your whole existence maybe, but in like the early 2000s, I bought I Eat Your Flesh, which was renamed something, I don't know, racist, but
Cannibal Holocaust? Was that what it was renamed as?
Oh, God.
I can't
No,
remember,
different
because if it
one.
was
Similar,
that,
Okay.
similar in video nasty, but
Mhm.
similar.
so
Anyway.
it was very much like two white people halt on a balcony lit
Boy, they
by
gotta be
tiki
white, man.
torches. Yeah, no, they're halted on a balcony, tiki torches blaring, and they're like, the villagers are restless. And if that doesn't strike you as racist bullshit that makes you want to rip your hair out, you're wrong. But then also it was like, and forgive me, but it was like hoodoo voodoo zombies. And it was just like, oh, I'm just scared of white people. And I thought that I needed to watch it because I love zombie films and this is like OG and let's get in there. And then I watched it.
That's what she said. Let's get in
I-
there.
Yeah, right? I got in there super fucking stoned. That's what she said. And I was like, oh no, this is terrible and I never want to watch it again. And then I focused on Cool Ranch Doritos until it was done.
Oh,
You know
poor
what I'm
soul.
saying? Yeah, no, I had to. Sometimes you find yourself in a movie that you thought you wanted to watch and then you don't want to watch it anymore. And you have to Cool Ranch Doritos your way out.
So basically you were like me when my sister was forcing me to watch one of those awful superhero shows, and I was just like, "Ooh,
Or like,
let me just stare into my phone a little more, and I can pretend it's just not there in the background, and then we can watch a good show after this."
Yeah. It's true. Like anything Cameron. Wait, hold on a second. Anything Gwyneth Paltrow after 2007.
By the way, fuck you too, Tom Cruise. Anyway, so I'm not here to talk about those zombies in human form in overrated Hollywood. We're here to talk about, again, just the rest of the Romero stuff. So he then goes back to Pennsylvania with Land of the Dead, and then did his take on found footage with Diary of the Dead, where a bunch of film students are trying to make their own horror movie and, get ambushed in a hospital and other places. And then Survival of the Dead, which follows some of the same characters from Land and Diary, and basically set on an island with a bunch of these other former military guys who have lost their fucking mind. So again, it all involves the same fucking thing, where it's just always, which leads again into the Return of the Living Dead, which is a loose sequel. Basically, it's following co-creator John A. Russo's material, and Dan O'Bannon from Alien and Life Force fame decided to just craft it, and they made 5 of those movies. I must confess, I have not seen the terrible, unwatchable, supposedly worst of the worst Sci-Fi Channel movies, so I've only seen the first 3, and part 3 is amazing.
Did you ever watch Dance of the Dead?
Ooh, wish I didn't.
Wish you hadn't. Did you?
Now we're talking like Yoda. Watch it, should you? No, you should not.
No, you really shouldn't. But have you?
Unfortunately. I like zombie movies.
You watched Dance of the Dead? Because I've never met anyone else.
This is why I love hanging out with podcasters. I get
God.
you guys. I get where everyone's coming from and the weirdness of having to explain a stupid movie and then everyone looking at you like you're an alien is just possessed, and then you're like, forget
dude,
it. What's for dinner?
I watched Night of the Lupus and it was about killer rabbits. And you just, okay.
Definitely a movie I cannot show my mother because we got a pet rabbit and she's gonna be upset if she sees Bones from Star Trek shotgunning some rabbits. Anyway, sorry.
The only shit that matters that I remember from Dance of the Dead is when the girl who's been bit goes into a bathroom stall with a guy who has not been bit, and he's like, and it's super gross, and she's like,
yeah, it's just like that.
And they
had some weird ass Foley.
They slide down the bathroom wall together, and they come back up, and she's eating his flesh.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. Oh my god, I wish I could unsee it, but it lives inside of me now, and that's how zombies work.
There were a lot of people listing that as their favorite zombie movie, and every time I wanted to say, and turn in your badge, you're done here as a blogger. And it's just like,
no ma'am, no thanks,
no thank you, do not include this. As now, counter question, have any of you ever wanted or possibly seen Hard Rock Zombies?
No.
It is
Not
fucking
I.
amazing. It's one of those movies where everyone was basically high and just, it's like they watched Return of the Living Dead and then said, oh, I could do that. And then I seriously, but watching it, I'm like, I don't think Adult Swim would exist without this. This is better than Inglourious Bastards because various characters just show up randomly and they got a cool ass soundtrack. Unpopular opinion, I love the soundtrack. I have played it many times when I'm just in a bad mood. And they kill Hitler. It
It's
makes
Inglourious
no
Bastards for zombies?
I think it's better than Inglourious Bastards. Hot take. But it's just how fucking outrageous. It's just so plotless, and it's got just bizarre comedic segments, and it doesn't take itself seriously at all. And before you know it, you're like, I don't know what I saw. I should totally get hammered or stoned one day and just watch this and invite people over to a party and have them say, what are you watching?
Okay.
Hard Rock Zombies.
If
See
we
it.
have to, what is the most obscure zombie film you've ever seen?
State of
Weekend at-
Emergency.
Weekend at Bernie's.
That's not a
God
zombie
bless
movie.
you, Lydia.
That's
I love
a
you
comedy.
so much. That's just a
Anyway.
no, they invoke voodoo to make him move, which technically makes him a voodoo zombie, which
Just like
makes it
Deadites
a
are
zombie.
some kind of demon / zombie spawn.
He's not a deadite. He is a voodoo zombie. That is a religious zombie that I talked about in some obscure YouTube video I made a million years ago, which we don't have to talk about.
Anyway, so
Okay, that's
you love
yours.
zombies. Everyone loves zombies. You can't not love zombies.
Okay, Jen, what's your most obscure?
Zombie strippers.
Oh, you poor soul. Oh, God.
Yeah, I watched it with her. Hey, girl, what's up? That shit is weird.
I'm sorry you had to encounter it. Were you entertained by it in the best or worst possible way?
I did have a reference to we don't need no stinking badges. That's
Was it Vages?
It might have been.
Might as well have been.
I hate that. I hate that so much.
Freaking Jenna Jameson does that sometimes.
Overpromised and underdelivered, for sure.
Yeah, we watched it on a projector back in the late 2000s. It was 2010
wow.
or yeah. Okay, riddle me this. Have you ever seen an I double fucking dog dare you, Cam Sully, to watch Zombievers?
I have seen the trailer and I need to still see this. I still need to see it and Killer Raccoons.
The movie in Seattle and I talked to the director and the actors.
Were they nice or were they just out there?
They were super fucking nice. They were hilarious because
They didn't
what
take it
happened
serious.
was no, they knew what the fuck they were doing, right?
You never know sometimes.
But they were self-aware. And there were times when, like, okay, so here's the funniest shit that I asked. I don't know the question I asked, but what
was the
had
question you
happened?
asked? I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
No, I don't remember. But I stood up and I asked a question. I was like, "Where the fuck did you shoot this?" Right? And the answer was, we were on a Disney lot where you weren't allowed to have nudity.
That's amazing.
So, and they were naked like 85% of the time.
In
Like, it did
Zombievers
not-
or zombie strippers?
Zombievers.
Zombievers.
And so,
all right. Wow.
yeah. So I got pictures to prove that I was there. So, like,
That's amazing.
I'm so sorry, but like, they would be
What's
like,
to be sorry about? You got to meet someone who told everyone fuck off and made what he wanted to make without
but
giving
here's-
a shit. That's amazing.
No, that's not true because they were on a Disney lot. What would happen is like a tour or some shits would come through and they'd be like doing a tits out scene.
Oh, that's
they would
even more
they would have
awesome.
to they would have to like cover up really quick and be like, oh yes, we're just filming a movie. We're just like doing a movie that doesn't matter. And then someone gets eaten crotch out by a zombiever. Like, consumes like crotch to face.
How did they create the effects? Was it all CGI'd in afterwards or?
Oh, it was all puppets.
It was all puppets.
That's amazing. Yeah, just sorry, puppeteer's hammered. Nothing to see here.
I mean, here's the thing. You can debate until the end of time the merits of the origins of zombie films, from I Eat Your Flesh to Night of the Living Dead to any Romero, whatever. Generalized reenact our reattachment through 28 Days Later. Like, all of that is very beautiful in a way.
In a way.
But
in a world where something is beautiful and undead, one man.
But if someone delivers you a beautiful golden piece of garbage, it's kind of perfect. If you need to consume it in a group, if you need to consume it alone, someone has delivered you like this jewel. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And you can't say no. You just have to take it.
That sounds rapey. You can't say no.
I mean, but I'm not a
I'm
man,
sorry.
so it doesn't
I
count.
have to make. Oh, wow. You have no rights. Oh, slam. Anyway, so, so basically, again, why do you think everyone just wants to refuse it? Just reject it? Because I get this all the time where I see people, they don't understand. I had a terrible, I'm not going to lie, this gal was a total C word. I was on her damn podcast with her husband, who was nice, and a bunch of other snobby commentators, and they had no sense of sarcasm or humor. And they kept going, I don't like sci-fi. I'm like, well,
Sci-fi is my favorite. What the hell?
well, that, and you like Star Wars, you like all these other fantasy movies and everything. You clearly don't know what it means. And she just kept saying, I don't like action. I'm like, well, Romero's zombie films and Indiana Jones are definitely action. And I know you like Tarantino. So again, fuck off. You don't know what you're talking about here. And so it's just, again and again, people will just, and I get it too. I see my sister saying, I don't really like horror, but I saw A Quiet Place. I'm like, well, what do you think that is? And it's the same thing. My mother would be like, I'm not really into horror or sci-fi or action. I'm like, you watch Guy Named Lazy and X-Files, so get out of here.
I hear what you're saying. I do.
They don't know what the genres are. They don't know what it means.
No. But here's the thing. I'm gonna help you.
I'm gonna help. Just let me talk. No, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I'm not trying to cut you off, super dad.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I'm not trying to Romero
I didn't
you.
say you were. I'm just joking around. I'm making fun of the Kanye thing since everyone likes to make fun of award shows.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you finish.
Three years ago. But like, okay, look, honey child, baby child.
Baby child.
I don't. How old are you?
I'm fucking telling you. I hate when
I'm
people ask that
so
little
close. No, look, you don't have to tell me. I'm so close to 40 that I am like breathing down its neck hole. Okay, so
anyway,
let me tell you that people are insecure like all the time. And one of the things about horror films is it highlights what makes you insecure.
Mm-hmm.
If something makes you insecure, that's a thing you need to address.
Yes.
So if you've introduced a film to someone and they're like, oh no, I do not like that.
Right.
The appropriate response is to be like, that's cool. I've got like 8 other different films that you can watch. Right? Because that's the nature of horror fans, is we have like so much to the left that you could just watch. You know, if you don't like Night of the Living Dead, that's super cool. Do you want to watch do you want to watch Poltergeist? Okay.
Right. Aliens, even Outbreak or World War Z. We're watching some kind of movie that's freaky. You know?
Yeah. But knowing what terrifies a person informs those of us who are on the alter edges.
I'm on the outside. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Stone Temple Pilots reference. Anyway.
That's
Actually, no, that's
fantastic.
Alice in Chains. My bad. Anyway, go ahead.
I wouldn't know. I'm terrible with names. Lydia can vouch. Vouch?
Yes.
Ouch.
I'm terrible. Okay, but
You're not terrible. You're awesome. Anyway, go ahead.
knowing what scares someone informs you on who they are as a person.
Mm.
I mean, like, what? Hey, Cam Sully, what scares you super fucking bad?
Trying to think.
No,
I guess.
I mean, it's gonna be.
It literally would have to be just on the deathbed, just knowing you have to accept death. Like
Okay,
literally
wait.
just that.
Okay. So, the internet tells me that upon your death, your brain is alive long enough to recognize that you are dead before you fully die.
So there you go.
Isn't that fucking existential?
So basically, you have to be asleep or something. Like you have to die in your sleep. And I keep saying this. That is the only mercy killing.
My hope is to die heavily medicated in my sleep. But
right, die from a fucking overdose, having a good time. You know. Just...
yeah, but like hopefully opioids while I'm watching Netflix. But
right,
if that doesn't happen, and you're on the bed and you're thinking in your brain, excuse me,
that's the zombie and you're coming out.
No, that was just a belch. Okay, so
you sure it's not the Disturbed song from Dawn of the Dead?
It truly
down with the sickness. Sorry, go ahead.
Child, look. I just assume you're young. Okay, so
yes, I'm in my 30s. So go ahead.
Okay, so when I think about my termination as a human being, right? I think that I'm either going to be released into the, let's be fair, like the mythology and the things that I believe, or I will be released into the darkness. And either way, I will find peace, right?
You hope.
But, okay. But also, what if you done fucked up? Isn't that the terrible thing? Isn't that the thing you don't want to think about?
It's either that or knowing there's nothing you can do, and that basically everything. I mean, this is what all these people in these zombie movies do. Basically, is just realizing everything they've been fighting for a full hour now has been all for nothing, or someone else has come and done and again fucked it up. So yes,
so
it's to that parallel. Yes.
What's the mall scene where the guy's been fighting for his dead pregnant wife?
Dawn of the Dead. Yes.
Yep.
So that's the remake, right? With
it's
the baby.
In both versions. Anyway, yes.
So he works so fucking hard to have this baby from the lady that he loved, that he knows is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And then the thing that crawls out of her, snooch. I say that word to make light of a very dark situation because I've already been super dark already.
Oh, they're both dark. That one's dealing with basically a zombie baby, and then basically you're dealing in the original with a potential abortion.
So then there's this dead thing that was your ultimate goal, which is no longer now all the things that you've been living for are dead. And you essentially feel dead. Like here's what I think the focal point, and God bless it, you can raise your hand or not. You can snap your fingers if you think I'm super right. The thing,
God
bless you, you're so cute. Okay. The thing about horror movies is reaching a moment of hopelessness. Name one horror movie that isn't about that. The point where you will no longer succeed. The point where you know that you are super fucking fucked.
I love how you said it twice. It's sexy. Anyway, so yeah, pretty much. There's no way around it. It's like basically the cake is a lie.
Sorry, you called me sexy and I died a little and I don't know what to do.
I have a not real hot take, but kind of another additional take on
What isn't
specifically
controversial,
the zombies.
my dude.
Yes. Yes, she, her pronouns. Thank you.
Yep.
So I think specifically with zombies, the fear is that you'll still be alive, but you won't be you. So if you're a vampire, you're still pretty much you. And with a werewolf, at least you're you most of the time. But if you're a zombie, you've lost everything that is you, but you still roam the earth.
Nice.
And so the loss of personal identity, I think, is a very terrifying thing for especially aging people.
Yes.
Where they know that there's a chance that they are going to be so lost in what is left of their memory that they won't be present anymore.
Another interesting note is Frankenstein, or the movie Frankenstein. He is very much like a zombie, at least when you look at film history. And the first movie about Frankenstein,
I'm glad. See,
was
you could start an internet argument just by that. Everyone's gonna be like, "Is Frankenstein a zombie? Yes or no?" And some people are gonna be like, "No, he's a monster with a heart." And then other people are gonna be like,
Right.
"Yeah, technically,
Debatable.
kinda,
Yeah.
sorta."
like 50% of the way there. He's a bit
And
of
then
a
I'm gonna
zombie because he's all
just troll the trolls. Anyway,
yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
But what's interesting about what Jen said is if you do take the stance where Frankenstein is a zombie, that isn't actually the case in the original book, because he was still technically composed of dead parts, but he had a brain, and his brain was very coherent, and he had thoughts and feelings, and he just didn't know what to really do with it. There's a YouTube channel called Overly Sarcastic Productions, OSP, and they go through, so they do actually do a video about Frankenstein, the book, and
someone had to do it.
Yeah, well, they do things well, so.
I think of Frankenstein sort of as the inverse of zombies. Like zombies, zombies are like one monster as a horde.
Basically,
it's like
he's
one
been experimented
monster
on
in
so many times.
And Frankenstein is actually many people merged into one.
Yeah.
Right.
Or Frankenstein's monster.
Same deal with his bride. You know, it's like it's just the doctor has just been basically meshing whatever. I mean, I think he even says it in certain versions that they're from various different bodies he found. So that's why sometimes his limbs aren't exact or don't necessarily mash up with his brain right away. You know, it's any other H.P. Lovecraft or Reanimator kind of concept. It's like, yeah, he exists as whatever we want him to be. But right now he is basically mummified, zombified.
Putting on the Ritz.
Good call.
Young Frankenstein.
Yeah.
So overall, what do you feel like pop culture could kind of learn from zombie movies?
I have a brief question. Do you feel like Romero added the social subplot before or after he made Night of the Living Dead?
Well, no, I'm actually glad you brought that up. I had C. Courtney Joyner, who plays the zombie in the original Dawn of the Dead that burst through the window of the mall in one scene, and worked for Full Moon Entertainment, directing various movies for him, including Transfers Free. Awesome dude. And very funny guy. He was like, yeah, everyone was high as a kite. I was there. No one knew what the fuck they were doing. And I half agreed, because I'm pretty sure he just figured he had nothing to lose. So every bit, he was just adding on, and brilliance was bred out of it. And that's just what you're allowed to do when people leave you the fuck alone. Just like Apocalypse Now, and everyone was in their own personal hell that they had created by being in this desolate area of the Philippines, you know, filming a Vietnam War movie with actors not remembering their lines and almost getting heart attacks. So same kind of deal. They're just creating their own universe on a closed off private, you know, film mall but I do feel like he had that regardless of how John A. Russo interceded and did the whole, hey, I get to share half the profits, Living Dead is mine, and you can do whatever the hell you want with sequels, but I retain the rights to the original. Yeah. So I think it was kind of all a matter of, hey, we're going to just do whatever we want and just let the dominoes fall where they do, just, and we'll add something here and there. And it helps that they had stage play actors. So I'm sure they added their 2 cents as well, saying, okay, what's my motivation? Obviously it was more than just you're trying to not get eaten. Someone is feeling this, suspicious of this person who's supposed to be their ally. Someone who I would normally call on for anything if I was a drifter stuck in the middle of nowhere. And the beauty of them is you pretty much they have such a loose storyline too. Again, that's why they still resonate. You could say they're pretty much in any area, and it helps that they're in a lot of these southern country type towns. So it's like, yeah, I'm sure even if you want, you could probably say that most of the 60s movie is basically set in modern day. You never see any technology there or anything. You could just say you're out in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, and you're trying to get to the nearest oil rig or gas station that you can get, and without getting killed. I'm sorry, I kind of went on a tangent there.
No, we are all about tangents here.
I know.
I'm just
sometimes the ones who make tangents aren't ready for a taste of their own medicine. So I'm just saying.
I'm okay with eating my own medicine for real.
My God, you guys are too awesome.
Okay, you're wonderful too. But I'm thinking that the things that ring out to me in the whole of Night of the Living Dead, as I think is probably the shining jewel in Romero's crown overall. Really, I've tasted other ones, but this is my absolute favorite. And I think it's because, one, we have an unapologetic, beautiful male lead, right? Who is reasonable, authoritative.
I'm sure he agrees,
gentle.
But he can't really speak right now when he's in his grave. Anyway, go ahead.
I mean, but he as a character, if you've looked at the original script, is described as truck driver. And he's given this very driver. But he's given this affection. Maybe you can give me a better word, Lydia. Afflection? Inflection? Inflection is a better word. Thank you.
Inflection.
His inflection is that of a dumb guy. But then they give the role to this man who gives him this authority and this ability to control and not manipulate, but to be authoritative in the face of insurmountable damage. And then at the end of everything, where he survives woman, stupid shit, child, dipshit's wife, dipshit's child.
He survives. Love those labels. That is amazing.
He survives everything, and then because he's moving in the house and he's a black man, he gets shot.
Yep.
How does that not stand the test of time? How does that not speak to every
absolutely.
single generation?
I was disturbing my guests when they had invited me on one random podcast to talk Dawn of the Dead. I'm like, Black Lives Matter was really becoming a big deal that year. And I was like, yeah, see, times have not changed. This is basically a Serpico fucking movie with
1968 showed 1969
gory Star Wars spectacle to cover up the.
We as Caucasian people had no fucking clue.
Right, and it's right there. You really do read into it. It's just Romero was very aware. He said several times when interviewed, he's just very disillusioned and just channeling all his angst and outrage at Vietnam and other, college kids getting shot at by police. And by the National Guard. He was just like, man, what the fuck is going on with the world? Yeah, the only way they're going to listen to you is if you do something in the form of something else. It's boom.
You couldn't not be. This is, I think, even if it is retroactive, the way that he came back and was like, oh no, look at how people are reacting to whatever. Like, I get why he did it. But I think that if a person is to retrospectively look upon this, what I think as the pinnacle of Romero's work, you have to focus on Ben. You have to, because he is a golden star and my favorite, and he's beautiful. And he only did like one other ever film ever. Yeah,
Absolutely.
and then he went on to teach theater, and he was probably a golden god, and I wish I'd ever met him.
Lydia, what do you think we can learn learned from Romero's Zombies?
Panic now, avoid the rush.
I like it.
Again. Anyway, yeah. We're fucked. And so now it's a matter of what do we got to do to just keep our head on our shoulders.
What about you, Jen?
Oh, I think especially with Dawn of the Dead, the message of consumerism and what it does to you, to your life, the way that you perceive other people, and how aggressive you can become because you want things.
Nice.
How about you, Cam Sully? Tell us about your experience.
Basically, choose your battle. If you're basically disputing, we always say don't cry over spilled milk. Basically, you got to just flat out just decide what you want to lose and where you just want to put your foot down. And everyone likes to do the whole, I do this, I do that. And then when it comes time, they just chicken out. And it's like, well, just figure out what you're going to do. There's so many ways you can own people without fighting a giant battle or drawing a line in the sand. And at the same time, there's just so many other things that anger us but aren't worth just, listing the riot act in front of everyone. So pretty much, again, yeah, just pick something that you can make time for and that is eating you up and just let them have it. However you're going to do it. Not sure if that answered your question.
No, I mean, like, okay. Oh, gosh, I hit the mic. Okay, look. You're talking about picking your battle, right?
Yes, right. That's what all these people do here in this damn zombie movie.
Truly, from Walking Dead to Night of the Living Dead, how do you, like in Night of the Living Dead, they only refer to them as ghouls, and that's one of the things that I like about Walking Dead is they're like, the dead. They don't ever say zombies because zombies don't exist in their universe.
Mm-hmm.
So the real question in nearly every zombie film, because as Jen said, like capitalism and my own personal, like, who are you and what are your values? Like,
where's your daddy and what does he do?
Oh, well, Cam Sully, who are you and what do you fight for?
People get in my way.
What do you mean? You fight for the people who get in your way?
No, I fight anyone who gets in my way.
Okay, but what will get in your way? Is it somebody who's after resources? Because you're after resources too. That's reasonable.
Oh, just anyone. Like, just if you're making a loud racket, I'm gonna let you have it. And words can kill. So
you're a sticks and stones guy, but fuck you and your bones guy.
Yeah, something like that. So
not mad, that's reasonable.
Anyway, yeah, you just gotta, I mean, a more personal question. How many have you had a job where you're just like, oh, sweet Jesus, just glad to get home. This job fucking blows.
Yeah, I think we all can.
Yeah,
okay, you'd be surprised how many people and got a great gig. So then comes the time of people want you to fight all these things. Oh, sue them, do this, do that. I'm like, no, I'm not here to be anyone's friend. I want you to just fuck off.
Yeah, the question, are you useful to me? Are you detrimental to me?
Better yet, who's instigating? And I mean, my father played this too. Like, I'll give you an example. My mother used to be a teacher, and it was at a shitty junior high where basically the parents were very, ultra religious, and the school had such a terrible turnout that basically they said, you can't fail anyone, do the best with what you can. And the kids were not motivated to learn because they knew they wouldn't fail. So total clusterfuck. I had never seen my mother more agitated in her life. She's like, how do you get anything fucking done when no one wants to fucking learn? And so someone in a yearbook decided, it was a simple question. What do you want to be when you grow up? And someone decided to say, I want to be an adult film star. And that parent was not very happy with what their kid had. And the kid swore, "Is like, no, I did. Someone else did that as a joke, as a prank." And it's like, and my mother was just like, well, I'm going to print it as it is. And my father was like, no. You're going to lose this battle. You're going against all the Hitlers and idiotic people of the world who are using religion as a shield to basically get what they want. So you're going to look bad either way. So instead of just surrendering or anything, just say, okay, fuck it. You're just not going in the yearbook. You get the final say.
Like fairly fair solution to like a no-win
and she wanted
battle.
to lose sleep over it and just ask them to resubmit. And it's like, no, fuck them. They didn't play the rule the right time, and they're crying the riot act since something got in there that wasn't supposed to be in there, and no one proofread. So it's like, yeah, just chill.
It's complicated because in the world of zombies, everyone's opinion is valid. I am a human, I deserve to live. I am a zombie, I deserve to eat. Both are valid. And I've worked in education, no lie. Right?
Yes.
I am a student, I deserve to have an environment that enriches me. Well, I am an educator, I deserve to have an environment that is not
I deserve to teach them the whole thing. And I'm seeing that now too with teachers who are now going to be penalized if they teach critical race theory or just about slavery.
Gay. My gay spouse and me are super gay. Like, I'm sorry, you have to have a conversation with your child, but like, fucking have that conversation.
Right.
Oh my God. Okay.
I would see it all the time. So yeah, sex ed, everything. No one wants to talk about things. They just want to get angry and blame whoever's in charge. How dare you invite someone to something I was too lazy to teach them about because
let's not talk about zombies. They are the living impaired.
Yeah, zombies basically, again, in all these kinds of movies are basically reflecting, how many of them can you name where someone who was a shithead and then becomes a zombie in the next scene? Is like, yeah, it's just it. You evolve into a far worse person as you go along because no one can deal with your bullshit. And then
what if you were a better person as a zombie than you were as a human being? Fuck you. You can't tell me Jeff Bezos couldn't eat people on the daily and tell me he wasn't a better human being than the piece of shit billionaire that he is now.
He's our savior. Oh,
come at me, Bezos. You and your penis rocket. I don't give a shit.
Dickhead. I felt good.
It really did.
Fucking dick. So who do you hate more? Him, Elon Musk, Trump, or I don't know. Think of any other millionaire, billionaire.
Okay, so between you and me, Cam Sully.
Yes.
There's only one of those people that I've actually thought of assassinating.
You can't say it. You can't say it. Or it has to get edited out.
I'm pretty sure it's a federal crime if I tell you.
I know. Everyone was thinking it. And so that was the weird way where it's just like, again, are all getting these violent thoughts. And so it sucks when, again, you're trying to not be a martyr, and yet someone who attracts all these bigots, all these dickheads. I mean, that's what Rhodes in Day of the Dead signifies, is he's this guy who just is saying all these racial slurs and ruling by fear and feeding his own men to zombies that he's experimenting on. And his signature line is like, "Stop wasting my time." It's fucking amazing. He stills the scene. And I mean, in the original Dawn of the Dead, you got all the bikers saying, including the one played by makeup artist Tom Savini, who's also known for his Friday the 13th and Robert Rodriguez work.
Yeah.
He makes a slur saying, "Chocolate man, come here, man, come here, chocolate man." And so when he's ambushing them in the truck, and so it's both funny and in on the joke, because again, you're just seeing an over-the-top version of the worst members of society, and then at the same time, you buy into it because it is so low budget. It does look so real because they're using real places, and this is what these movies do: is they're able to just. It's literally a breakthrough. I can't think of any other movie, even years before we got into movies like, say, Get Out or what have you, that were bringing up other similar conversations. But Romero does this with all these works. Like his vampire film Martin, he talks about, are you any less human than the fact that you now realize that, you're a bloodsucker. He explores it in plenty of his other just earlier movies that he did. And he basically, that's just it. He has to decipher everything and show how we all encounter various psychos in disguise, various intrusions that set us on the edge and make us question whether we're going crazy or becoming a hypocrite or just prone to violence. So yeah, these are all, however you want to dress them up, these are every fabric of society just summed up in all these kinds of movies. And I mean, you get to Return of the Living Dead, which, is its own deal, but kind of loose spin-off sequels. And can't say for whatever copyright reason, but, look at all those guys there. They got wacky names. One of them's named Suicide. One of them's basically a neo-Nazi who's trying to redeem himself,
I mean, that's really what comes down to. I mean, like if you distill the essence of every horror creature is a piece of human fracture, right?
Yeah.
The thing that comes up against it is whatever might be human redemption.
Fair enough.
Right? I mean, for every Jen, be the other half of my brain, the thing that kills Superman.
Kryptonite.
Okay, so for every piece of kryptonite, there's got to be a Superman, and you got to, absorb the. We'll assume that I know more about Superman, but like the green, whatever the hell. But then like Superman's sunlight absorption, like those things contradict each other because they have to. If there is a good, there is a bad, and a good horror film truly embraces both of those things. And in the genre of zombie films, we initially walk in on Alive versus Dead, right? But a truly great zombie film plays on good human, bad human, bad zombie, good zombie, and then kind of like flips it around like a bop it.
Gotcha.
Flip it, twist it,
Flip it,
bop it. Yeah, bop it, twist it. You know what I'm saying?
That's amazing.
I'm just saying.
Twister. Plenty of twisting in those movies.
Normally necks and faces and like hitting them with a crowbar, but whatever. Get where you need to go.
Yeah, totally. So I feel like we've kind of said most of what we want to say. How do you want to close this down?
Well, we normally announce who we are and thank our applauders, because our normal guest audience are people who we feel like know who we're cheering at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
We can kind of talk a little bit about where you can find us too. We're at Shocked Applaud on Twitter and Instagram. So Shocked Applaud without the and. Then on Facebook, it's Shocked and Applaud and shockedandapplaud.com. And email is
This is
shocked.
shocking.
Yeah, there's lots of shocks and ands and applause. Shockedandapplaud@gmail.com too. So
then we'd also say something like, I'm Naomi McQuaid.
I'm Jen McQuaid.
And I'm Lydia Malcolm. And then you would probably say, and I'm Cam Sully.
Yes, and
Yes, but I'm not as awesome as you guys, so.
I disagree. I think that we came at this from several angles, and we needed you to do that.
Yeah.
True story.
Thank you. I needed an ego boost. Thank you all for being on here so much. Really was a delight.
How do you close out your show, Cam?
That was it. I whoever's on gets to do whatever. And before I jump onto the next chat,
you say, "I'm Cam Sully. Thank you for listening to." Go on.
I'm sorry. That sounds too much Mr. Rogers. This is not my style.
Are you saying there's something wrong with Mr. Rogers?
How about you
but it's not me.
How about you say it, but you do it as a zombie would?
Yes.
Okay, friends. What you been hearing from all the brains here today?
That was lovely.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. I don't know where I went with it, but I went.
You're so pretty. Thank you.
We usually applaud at the end of our reviews.
We say yay and then we clap. You want to do that with us, Cam Sully?
Great. So we say it at the same time and then we start clapping. So 3, 2, 1.
Yay!
All right.
End
Nice.
recording.
Oh God. That voice.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening.
It's a